Ascension's The Cool Man versus Seed Heiwa, and I can tell you with zero hesitation that I am always excited to see a game from Heiwa.
Heiwa is super duper amazingly awesome, and I think I mentioned it earlier, but there was actually another team league, the Demos Esports Team League, where Heiwa actually played. It was so funny. It was the Seed Academy, the Root Seed Academy versus Team Root Gaming, and Heiwa actually managed to beat Sage, which was just like crazy. I was going absolutely insane after that, and it really, really gave me a lot of respect for Heiwa. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he has in store for us in this next game.
So going into a ZVT we haven't seen yet, I mean, any thoughts on the matchup as a whole?
You know what? It has been voted and said by many, many people that is one of the favorite matchups of a lot of people. I can understand it. And it's one of those matchups that also a lot of people like to say, you know what, there's not a lot, there's some kind of wonky things that you can do build order wise, but for the most part, it's not about countering your opponent's build order. It's about you go for that standard play and you just try and outplay your opponent. It's a really beautiful matchup because of it.
Yes, and thanks for your comments earlier. It looks like the chat has gone down a very, very dark path that I'm just going to ignore for now.
Yeah.
But going into this game, these players, we do have some bios for you representing Team Ascension. It is the Cool Man. I mean, tell you what, looking at that picture, is that would definitely be a picture that would go with a one that goes by the Cool Man, with the pumpkins in the background and all. He was well known, with a nice typo there, thanks, Wingnut Fingers, in Wings of Liberty. I assume he's still relatively well known. He recently returned after a long hiatus from the game, playing League of Legends. He has not regained a GM yet, but is a solid and consistent player. I hear League of Legends is a good practice for StarCraft, so we'll see what he can do. But his opponent this evening is going to be Heiwa, representing Root Seed. Do not have a picture from him, but this dapper silhouette with his orange tie is going to take its place. He's a 16-year-old from Boston, maybe 17 by now, because this bio information I had is actually from last season. He started playing 1 year after the Wings of Liberty release. He was introduced to the game by his brother. Started as a Protoss, but switched to Terran after 2 months of playing. Again, a sigh. And his favorite matchup is TVP. Luckily for him, we are going into a TVZ. But, I mean, those win rates obviously take with a grain of salt, because as well as I'm sure he's not Diamond, I'm sure he does not win versus 91% of Protoss, although if you talk to Troy,
I don't know,
he may have a different opinion.
If Heiwa's placed in Diamond, I'm pretty sure he's got close to a 99.9% win rate, because that kid is good. He's going to be stomping a lot of Diamond folks.
Yeah, I suppose that is kind of the theory of when you're placed into a lower league, your win rates are going to be high until you catch back up, but that just showing his skill. But as we move on into game number 5, the map is going to be King Sejong Station, LE, in the upper left-hand corner, representing Team Ascension, the race Zerg, and the color yellow. It is the Cool Man.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. It's the red Terran player representing Team Root Seed Academy. It is going to be Heiwa.
I just love that name too. Just makes me want to say Heiwa.
Heiwa, how you doing? How you doing? If wa was another like pronoun, like he or she or something, you could totally just make that a thing. You could just make that your opening line. Heiwa, how's it going?
Well, Heiwa definitely got something up his sleeve here. This is a really early SCV scout that's going to a spot that you wouldn't even scout.
Oh, is he going to go for a Reaper?
Proxy Barracks Reaper, it looks like. Although there's no gas yet.
Yeah, it could be coming down soon,
actually,
though.
You know, this is one of my favorite things. If he does this, I'm going to be... Oh, no, there's the gas. That makes me sad. When you really catch someone off guard, building the barracks on low ground, flying it up, and then building the Marines. A little bit harder against Zerg with that creep and such, but looks like it is going to be a Reaper. I
don't know if there's enough space actually over there on the high ground to keep that barracks hidden. You know, once it lands up there, because there's still a bit of vulnerability. You need to wait for more than just one Marine to pop out.
Man, this Reaper
maybe get up a bump or
is going to be crazy early. He's going to have a Reaper out just after 3 minutes here. And the cool man looks like he's getting in a position to put down a hatchery, but no, he doesn't. The drone has a complete change of heart and turns around and heads back to mine. So does he kind of get us?
That is definitely going to be in his best interest.
Well, he does have a drone scout in the main base of Heiwa, and he does not see a barracks. So it's pretty telling story right there.
I wonder if this is a command center first. Will they gas, guys? Or probably not. And at this point, the cool man is definitely one of those players who's had enough experience. He knows what's up. He's gotten up his gas geyser now. He's going to try and get up that Zergling speed to deal with the Reaper, but SCV is coming in. It's going to be building a bunker. If that bunker actually finishes,
oh my gosh,
then the cool man's going to be in a world of trouble.
And with this Reaper here to support the SCV and building it, it is almost certainly going to finish.
Well, he's going to try and do his best job to keep some of these drones alive. At least he's getting up that spine crawler, which is a really nice decision. And look at how many of these drones are just sitting around like orange or yellow health. It's nice to do a little bit of display of control, but at the same time, a lot of vulnerable units to go after.
Zerglings do come out, but the bunker is now complete, so the Reaper does have a safe zone. You can't get me, tag, you're it. But
I don't know about that.
He's still on creep, and those Zerglings can catch the Reaper while they remain on creep, but nice micro there with his second Reaper, and he does make it back to the bunker. Insane.
Yeah, really sick control from Heiwa, and now we do actually have the spine collar finished up. The queen is there. A second spine collar has also been forced out, and you have to realize that we do actually have a third Reaper on the way. But at what point do you want to see Heiwa start to transition out? I mean, okay, it looks like he is going to be throwing down a factory behind this back at home.
I mean, he's got to transition out of it at this point. He's really not going to make his way up here. But, I mean, what this does is the cool man can't expand. He has to focus a lot of his attention on just making sure this doesn't get out of hand in his base, which he's done a good job of containing it, but it's still a threat.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, 2 spine crawlers, if you include the cost of those drones, that is basically the hatchery that should have been going down, that he can no longer run for such a long time. Only now is it really going to start to go up, but the Reapers are actually out for blood. Oh man, if they could, I think 3 Reapers is enough DPS to kill a hatchery that like just started building. Yeah,
especially with some good control. I mean, he can still salvage this bunker too, so the investment from Heiwa is very, very low.
Yeah, it's going to be able to continue, pick off a couple more of those Zerglings, and we do actually have a couple of Zerglings, just 4 Zerglings moving across the map, looking to maybe do a little bit of damage, try and catch Heiwa. I think that he was hoping for a command center to be building on the low ground, but looks like Heiwa is not going to be really risking that. He's making it up in his main base now.
Yeah, and there's really not a lot here to actually push these Zerglings away, as there's really nothing here, but he can sort of indefinitely repair these supply depots, I guess, but the Reapers are going to be headed back, and do get 1 Zergling taken out, as speed is now complete for the cool man.
Yeah, but keeping those Reapers alive is actually a really, really nice boon, just because you can actually use those to do a little bit of scouting information in the later stages of the game. He's going to have them at home, which is a little bit interesting to me. I guess he does want to. He was building his reactor on his factory and everything. You want to make sure that his wall in didn't just get knocked down by a bunch of Zerglings. So it kind of makes sense to have him at home for now. But at this point, where do you feel we are sitting at, Wingnut, in terms of who came out ahead in what regard after all of that?
Well, it really depends on what Heiwa ends up doing now. If he sits back, I feel like the cool man is going to quickly get himself back even and ahead, if not ahead already. So Heiwa, I think, needs to put some continue his aggressive push here and keep it going.
Yeah, I think I can definitely agree with that, and I think that Heiwa is also probably agreeing with that, just based on the fact that he went for the factory before the command center expansion, and he's going to be moving out with 3 Reapers again that he kept alive, and these 4 Hellions, and this is actually enough to kill off 3rd expansions that could be going up. It's enough to kill off a lot of Zerglings that are trying to just find good surrounds.
Well, and the cool man's investing a lot of time in queen energy, literally, in all these all this creep here. So I mean, if he can maintain, especially doing some damage to the creep timbers while shooting at the queen there, but I mean that queen is going to be can't take that fight, so it has to push back, and he's now going to have to be forced to make some units now, forcing out 2 drones here, 4 drones. It looks like where maybe the cool man would not have wanted to make those units right now.
Yeah, and I'm kind of trying to decide whether the cool man maybe wasn't anticipating this sort of push out from Heiwa, or if he actually just feels comfortable defending with just what he has right now. I guess he did actually have 2 spine crawlers up from earlier, so he has 1 still sitting in the main base ready to defend, and Yeah, I guess with the roaches popping out, he's actually going to be in a pretty decent position. And honestly, he has a pretty good drone count as well. If he can push this force back, he could actually take his third expansion and feel pretty comfortable with how the trades ended up going this game so far.
Yeah, these roaches here are going to push back Haywa a little bit, but I mean, the Coolman still has to watch himself because as these drones push out towards the base of Haywa, that opens up the door for these Hellions and Reapers to do quite a bit of damage here, killing off two roaches. Not insignificant at all.
Yeah, and only really losing one Hellion, taking a little bit extra damage on some of the others. But I like that Haywa is continuing to just have these units on the other side of the map because it allows him to put on pressure if he gets the chance to kind of micro them around. But now these roaches, they're moving across the map. They're going to be moving into the natural expansion. Guess what? That wall-in is not actually even complete.
No, but there's 2 mines here and a bunker full of units, and there is going to be a pretty nice shot there, taking out 1 roach and Marauder and 2 Marines in that bunker, shooing him away.
At the same time, the Hellions and the Reapers actually starting to move in, trying to get a little bit of damage done. I'd love to see them poke up over the 3rd expansion now that those roaches have been pushed back. But looks like he's going to be hanging back for just a little bit. He wants to make sure he catches up on his production, gets that starport up, get everything kind of running in his main base.
I feel like almost that Haywa could have been just a touch more aggressive with these Hellions and kind of delaying this creep spread a little bit. He's kind of holding a little bit far back, knowing that those roaches are all the way on the other side of the map. I think I kind of would have liked to see him a little bit closer and try and delay or kill off some of those creep tumors.
Yeah, I think that would have been really, really nice for him. But unfortunately, sometimes you are a little bit concerned about the big attack coming in at your front and, of course, getting up that production that you want to have going. So sometimes you just don't have the APM for it. But
so what do you think is going to be in Haywa's plan here? I mean, he has only 4 SCVs mining gas, putting down a 3rd command center in his base.
You know, it is kind of interesting how he has the command center 3rd expansion going down. I think that's going to be a good decision. He needs a little bit of that extra SCV production. Of course, he doesn't have to land that outside immediately. He can kind of just sit with it over in his main base. But he's going for a push out now with a handful of these Widow Mines and a lot of those earlier Hellions and even 2 of the Reapers still left over. So this is going to be a very, very mixed up variety force coming out for Haywa.
Oh, but there are 8 Banelings in production, and Centrifugal Hooks is 2/3 complete as this push is coming out across the map. So if he can hold him off here just a little bit, but he does get nice connection with those Banelings. All the mines are gone, all the Marines are gone, except for 1, but now the Roach is coming in to clean it up with Zerglings surrounding. A very nice pushback by the Coolman.
That was actually beautiful, especially those Baneling hits on those Widow Mines. Without the Widow Mines, I mean, there's not really that big splash damage to take out a lot of the remaining Banelings or even just the Zerglings that are around. So, you know, Haywa, he's going to be in a bit of a defensive position. I was telling you, you know, the 3rd expansion could go to low ground, could stay in the main base, is definitely staying in the main base right now. I don't think he would feel safe landing on the low ground after knowing that Coolman has so many units left over.
And Coolman's going to kind of rally his force here. He definitely checked down there to see if there was a 3rd base, and there was not, so I think he's okay with just kind of taking his time here. Definitely does not want to run all of those Zerglings right up into that mine, as that would be fairly tragic.
Indeed it would be, but Mules are now going to be on their way for the Coolman, and with those Mules popping out, that's when he can start kind of really putting on a little bit more pressure beyond just that front line, that front wall in that Haywa's kind of set up. But Haywa, loading up a couple of those medevacs, he's going to go for an opportunity to drop. Could this be coming out at the absolute worst time? If these medevacs actually get over to that base right when the Mules are popping out, he just instantly could end up losing them.
Oh, and those medevacs just barely skirted by just the hair on his chin outside the vision range of that Zergling that he has positioned over there on the right side. Mulus also just sort of barely missing those medevacs, so this is definitely a well-timed, well-positioned travel path for Haywa.
Yeah, it was either going to go really, really well or really, really poorly, and it looks like it's gone really, really well for Haywa.
But looking
he may
at
actually even be able to... Ooh.
Looking at Haywa's base, he has no defenses here for these Mulis, so these actually could come in and do quite a bit of damage. No mines, no turrets, no nothing.
Well, he's going to have to stim up a lot of these Marines as natural expansion and maybe start to pull some of these SCVs away. At the same time, the drop moving in over to the 4th expansion gets a cancel off over there. Zerglings and Banelings are now moving in, managed to pick up, but at the same time, how much damage did the Mules actually end up being able to do?
They did exactly 15 SCVs worth of damage.
Oh, man. that, 15 SCVs, I feel like that would be a recoverable situation, but just look at the work account left over for Haywa. I mean, he's sitting at like 44 right now with a third expansion finally just going up.
Oh
but
no, the medevac's being caught here by the mutas, and looks like the boost is on cooldown, but dropping his units here, but they're going to be cleaned up by these Zerglings on the ground and continued to chase down by these mutalists. Does end up getting one of those medevacs down.
Yeah, the cool man's doing a really good job with these mules, just doing a lot of damage, and even just kind of pulling it back, cutting off the medevacs from being able to do that nice little retreat that Haywall probably wanted to do. And excuse me for that, hold on.
This is definitely kind of a pure Zergling Mutalist sort of style here that we haven't seen in quite a while. He has +2/+2 ground weapons and armor with +1 air attacks coming down. Now the turrets are coming down in mass quantity in the bases of Haywa. 3 in a row at his natural expansion. He had some trouble from those Mutalists and does not want to have that very same trouble again. And it's so difficult here as a Terran with Mutalists roaming around. I mean, your bio army is fairly mobile, but I mean, as you end up with the sort of Sim City-esque build going down here, it's very awkward to try and keep stimming your Marines up to chase down these Mutalists.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be doing that, because every single time you do, you're just dealing a lot of damage to your army that's going to take forever to be healed back up, as you were saying, like those low medevac counts. But now look at this, the Mutals now coming in to an army of missile turrets. Wingnut, this is just buying so much time for all those Marines to get over there.
Yeah, and there's a huge number of banelings coming here now. I mean, he has a total of, let's see if I can do math here, 8, 16, 24, a lot of banelings, like 30 some odd banelings are going to be headed towards the base of Haywa, so he is going to have a massive bust on tap here. But in the Mutalist coming in, taking out 1 tank, so only 2 remaining. Those tanks very clutch right now for Haywa.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it right now, how many units Haywa actually has in terms of, say, Widow Mines, things that can take out Banelings, it's basically those siege tanks and a single Widow Mine.
And they're not sieged up right now as the Banelings are coming in. Those tanks just do siege up, get 1 hit off on the front, but still those Banelings doing massive damage to the bio, taking the damage for the tanks, and that's just going to be it.
And with that being said, it looks like the Cool Man gonna be bringing this finally to a lead for Team Ascension, bringing it to 3-2.
Yeah, so I mean, Seed got 2 wins in a row to bring themselves to a 2-0 advantage, and Team Ascension may have been feeling a little bad at that point, but 3 wins in a row, they definitely must have not felt all that horrible as they come out with a vengeance.
And there is this concept, Wingnut, of momentum. And I think that momentum is heavily swinging in Team Ascension's favor. And you might be thinking, well, it's not really like a single player, but there's a lot of like motivation that kind of comes on when you see your teammates doing really, really well and be able to just constantly decimate your opponents one after another, even after being down. That's pretty demotivating for, of course, Team's Root Seed Academy. So we'll have to see, can Root Seed Academy kind of come back and halt that momentum, or will Team Ascension basically just go with the big 4-0, or sorry, I should say 4-0 sweep. It's basically a reverse all kill in a sense.
Yeah, and last season it was a little bit more interesting because you could kind of let these situations go as they fly with the King of the Hill type format. You say, okay, so now we just lost 3 in a row. I need to pick someone that's really momentum shifting to send out. But and this is Pro League format, so the rosters are set ahead of time. So you have what you have, and a lot of times we've heard in the interviews that the players choose the matchups purely mostly on race and map. So as we go into game number 5, this is going to be a little bit of a confusing one for us.